Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello. Yes, I'm Andy Gibbons. I'm here today with Charlotte and Leanne. And we're here today to talk about HubSpot CMS Hub, which is one of HubSpot's latest hubs. There's five hubs currently. I think there's soon to be six, I believe, with the introduction of Commerce Hub. But the CMS Hub is one that is causing it's a big topic of discussion at the moment. So this
And one of our favorite hubs as well.
exactly right. Yeah.
Especially mine, yeah.
This video here is really for anybody who is considering using HubSpot as for their website. Anyone who is just in general considering getting a new website as well, and or anyone that is using HubSpot, maybe some of the other hubs, maybe a marketing hub or a sales hub, okay, and kind of want to consider using HubSpot's or moving their website over to HubSpot and understand the benefits of doing that as well. So we're going to today discuss the benefits of the CMS Hub, the downsides. There's not too many, and but also how it compares to other tools that are out there and more popular platforms as well. Okay, so what I thought we'd do to start with is really just give a brief overview of the platform. Okay, and so I'm going to hand over to Charlotte, who's going to basically just introduce the platform and sort of talk through the sort of the basic principles behind it. All
Yeah,
right.
I
sure.
think also before we do that, it might be useful just to give a bit of background as to who we are
Yeah.
and how we've got to this point in terms of talking to everybody about CMS Hub. So I'm one of the founders of JDR. We started JDR Group back in 2004, so way before when the internet was a bit of the Wild West. And It was around 2008 we commissioned the build of our first proprietary CMS system. And it was because it was before the days of WordPress being a website platform, and there were only kind of HTML website builds, and our clients at the time were struggling to update and change and edit and keep their websites current. And so we went out and built our own CMS and started building CMS websites in around 2008. And I mean, so we've been there and seen the curve of technology come in, and we have during that time, fast forward to now, worked on just about every single CMS platform that's out there. But in building websites in various guises for clients, and we have built hundreds, if not thousands, of websites over the years. And along that journey, we've found some platforms better than others, of course. At the minute, we find ourselves in the past, it's been about 3 years, hasn't it, Charlotte, where
Yeah.
we've only built on HubSpot CMS. And that's a testament to how we feel about the platform. Our own website is in the CMS, and we put it in there about 4 years ago. And we are now building websites solely in CMS for clients. And so today, like Andy said, we're going to tell you why that is, and hopefully just give you the insight based on our experience in web development and as a marketing company, because HubSpot predominantly started out as a marketing tool, and the website plays really well into that. And yeah, so I just wanted to give that little bit of background. Charlotte, you can launch into your CMS.
Sure. Yeah, no problem.
Oh,
I'll
and
give
Charlotte, sorry, Charlotte heads up our website
website.
development team. So
Yeah.
Charlotte is our senior website coordinator. And so all of those hundreds of websites we've built over the past 3-4 years have had Charlotte at the helm.
The helm. Yeah. Lovely. All right. So essentially HubSpot CMS is a platform that you can build a website on. So a lot of people have heard of like Wix or Shopify or WordPress and things like that. So HubSpot is a different version, a better version of those platforms that you can build your website within. It's not solely just a website platform though, there's many other benefits that go with it. So again, that's a key benefit of putting your website in HubSpot, because you can link it up with other parts of your business, sales, marketing, etc. But essentially HubSpot CMS is where you can build your website, scale it, make it grow, edit it, etc.
Brilliant. What's the biggest benefit, do you think, then, of the CMS Hub, of having a website in HubSpot?
So I would say one of the biggest benefits is how editable it is. That's where I see a lot of frustration from a number of businesses that we've worked with. They've had websites in other platforms, and there's a lot of frustrations around just being able to make simple changes on other platforms is extremely difficult, something that should seem simple. So the beauty of HubSpot is it's a drag and drop editor. So you can essentially, on any page, drag and drop whatever you want in any place, move it around, completely customize the design of every page within the click of a button. So it gives a lot of creativity from that aspect. And we find that so many people, after we've worked on a HubSpot website with them, can then go and make changes themselves, maintain it themselves, while also working with us as well. So I'd say that's a huge benefit.
And the key to that as well is they don't have any HTML or
Yeah.
CSS or any kind of development. They don't need to have any development or coding knowledge to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can, have any member of your team be able to manage your website.
Is it easy to like edit a HubSpot website then?
Yeah, so easy. I mean, a lot of people, we normally give a 15-minute training video, and from that, they're then able to fully maintain their website and edit it moving forwards. So yeah, I would say we've had a lot of people that have said, trust me, I'm not very good with technology. Do you really think I can edit it? And we say yes, and they can. So yeah, it is really easy.
No, I've seen it as well. Like, it is really, really straightforward.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to, like, obviously updating a website and things like that, what happens with making those changes? So if you make a change to the website, okay, and from a marketing wise, I suppose, what's the benefit to making changes to the website in that way? What's the benefit of making the change yourself, as opposed to going to a developer like you always have done, for example?
I mean, well, with a lot of companies, there's additional costs to making changes to your website. So I know there's a lot of hosting companies out there that will charge you for changes. So being able to just go in and do it yourself, that's a big benefit, because there's cost implications sometimes. From a marketing point of view, obviously updating your website regularly is massive. Not just for Google. Google wants to see that you're regularly updating your website. Google looks for that, and will then that will contribute to you ranking higher on Google searches. So yeah, and I mean, you've also got the benefits of A/B testing in HubSpot. So for people that don't know what that is so if you have a website page that you maybe want to make changes to, but you don't know if it will have a good or bad impact, you can essentially run a test where these two pages run side by side, and you can see which one performs better. So rather than making changes that can have a drastic impact, you're doing like a science experiment basically, and HubSpot allows you to do that all in the platform. It will give you all the results, and it just means that making those changes, you can do it with confidence.
Is that not available in any other kind of website platform then?
I mean, there's workarounds to it, but it's a lot more complex. Like with WordPress, you'd have to put a plugin on that can then have security implications. Same with other platforms, whereas HubSpot, it's native to HubSpot, so you don't have to add extra apps or plugins to it to get that to work.
Yeah, A/B testing's been around for a while, but it used to be in the form of a platform that offers A/B testing, and you would go into that platform, do your test, and then push it from there onto your website, that kind of thing. So there would have been different platforms you'd be logging in and out of.
Yeah.
And also time, right? So we've got a lot of customers who, the business is moving. You need to change something. There's a legislation change, and you need to get that on your website straight away, or you've had a price change, or you've got to get comms out really quickly. And without the ability to update and change your own website in-house easily and quickly, not only are you paying out, as Charlotte said, for your developer to do it, you also go in the back of a queue. And so we often have clients getting frustrated because with their developers, because they need a change to happen, but they have to wait till next week, Tuesday, to get it done.
Yeah. I find that often when I speak to businesses is that the frustration that they have of they want to make a change, but their developer it's on the list, it's done next month, or
Or you can't get hold of them.
or they've emigrated. I've had that a couple of times.
Yeah.
They've just stopped becoming a developer, and they've just completely lost their website. And that guy knows all their passwords, that he's on a beach somewhere and no one knows where he is.
Yeah, it does help you take control back as well. Like that's really important.
So obviously understanding all those benefits, obviously the other thing that I suppose, what if you do need support though? Like if you, for example, wanted to do something, make a change or make your website look like something else or but you weren't sure of how to do it, what support is available to HubSpot users?
Yeah, so there's a few different options. The first one is within HubSpot, there's actually a support little thing at the bottom. So when you're in your HubSpot portal, if you have an issue, there's a button you can click and you raise a ticket, and that essentially goes to people at HubSpot that can then see your issue, challenge, and they will then support you and provide
and
guidance.
That's 24/7, isn't it, Charlotte?
Yeah, 24/7 support. So that's number one. Number two, there's so many resources online. HubSpot provides loads of articles. There's loads of YouTube videos and things like that. And they're also great. And then three, we provide support as an agency. So anyone that we do HubSpot websites for, we provide support packages with different options. So there's either like a monthly rolling basis of support that if people want that, or we also do ad hoc support as well. So people can come to us with ad hoc requests, and we can then provide that support for those people as well. So there's many different options. People are never left with a challenge that they can't get past.
I imagine, obviously, with the ease of HubSpot, then it's a lot easier for like JDR to make changes, because I remember, going back when we were building websites in WordPress years ago, that there was only a few people that could make changes to websites, whereas now, obviously, anybody that picks up the phone when you ring our office can probably do those changes relatively simply and easily.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when we were just working on WordPress sites, it would take a long time for us to even get people within our business to be able to make changes in WordPress. So it was a lot harder to try and find the right person that could do the change you needed doing. Whereas, with the HubSpot, all of our team are trained, can do it easily. So, yeah.
So that kind of leads me into the next bit, which is because obviously one of the biggest website platforms out there is WordPress, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think is that obviously our website was in WordPress till 4 years ago now, was it? We moved to HubSpot, yeah. And I think it was WordPress for many years previously to that as well. And it's probably the biggest website platform that's out there. The majority of business owners that I speak to, their websites are built in WordPress. That is changing. Like to kind of understand, I suppose, the benefits of the of a HubSpot website versus, say, a WordPress website.
Right. Well, I think then we need to understand the fundamental difference between the two. Yeah. So WordPress and other platforms of that nature, we stick with WordPress, are open source platforms. Okay. So what that means is the code is readily available. And what you do is you get the WordPress code when you're building your instance of WordPress, and you take that code and you put it on your own server and you build the website within that structure. Yeah. You then are responsible for hosting and looking after that website. Yes. And and updates to the code and everything else. So the open source community also has developers who are building plugins and themes and things that you can add on and bolt on to your WordPress instance. But fundamentally, it's a bunch of code that you take over, host it yourself on a server, and you create your website from there. The code itself is pretty basic. So any functionality you want to add to your WordPress website, you have to add it via a plugin, what we call plugins. Yes, and that's individually developed things that can happen. So for example, a form, if you wanted to add a form to your website to capture inquiries, a contact us form, a get in touch form, that is not out the box WordPress, that is a plugin.
Right.
So every bit of functionality you want to add, so the bigger the website, the more plugins you'll have to put in. And these plugins can be free, or they have prices attached to them as well. And on the other hand, HubSpot is a SaaS platform, so software as a service, which means it is developed and hosted and looked after by the software company, so by HubSpot themselves. Okay, another example of a good, well-known SaaS platform is Shopify.
Yes.
Shopify has been around for a long time and is quickly becoming the platform of choice for e-commerce. And so understanding those two things leads to the benefits of that. So if we take WordPress, for example, once you've got that instance on your server, you are then responsible for, as I said, updating it, keeping the security of it locked down, making sure that you have a hosting environment, so you've got costs involved there as well. And the problems with that is that because technology is moving so quickly, WordPress will release an update. So say Charlotte gets her website and starts building it today. So we're in 2024. By 2026, that code, the version of that code has probably moved on 4 or 5 versions. So we're on version 4.3 today. In 3 years' time, WordPress has released multiple updates to its code. So you're finding you're in a position where your website's out of date. If you're adding lots of plugins and functionality, which you ultimately have to do with WordPress websites in order for you to have the functions and for it to be interactive, those plugins as well go out of date. So you have to have somebody continuously maintaining and updating not only the code, but the plugins. So what that leads to, and what we've seen in our business during the time that we've been developing websites, is there's a cycle of when you're on an open source platform, there's a cycle of about 2 to 3 years where you will be constantly redeveloping your website.
Yeah.
So it's quite a big outlay for our customers to get a website built. So you have to kind of have a chunk of money every 2 to 3 years and a chunk of time to recommission web redesign projects just to keep your code and your functionality intact. We're not talking about redesigns or rebranding here, just to make sure that your website is secure and is functioning properly. Yeah. So contrary to that, on a SaaS platform where it's hosted and supported and secured by the software company, you're the beneficiary of all of those updates just being fed into your website on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. Also, when you're on a platform such as HubSpot's, where they are investing a lot of money and developers time into their platform because it's growing and they're making sure it's world class, you're getting the benefit of that, right? And you're paying a subscription, and you don't have to worry about the security. You don't have to worry about having a server. You don't have to have a developer who's looking after the code, and you don't have to keep on top of updating plugins. All of that is taken care of for you, and you just pay the software subscription.
Right.
So fundamentally, that's the benefit, yes, but there's other subtle benefits to it as well, because you when you're looking at websites going out of date, there's issues that come with that. Not only the code going out of date and things breaking, but the way Google sees your website from an SEO perspective, because they're taking into account what platform you're built on, what version of the code you're using, how fast your website loads, what the user experience is like on the website. And as websites get older in open source code environments, they slow down, they grind to a halt, that things start breaking, plugins become inactive, yeah, and also because the plugin developers can disappear just like any other developers and end up on that
Yeah.
beach, right?
Yeah.
So then the plugins just become unsupported, and all of a sudden you're not receiving your inquiries because your form stopped working and you had no idea it had stopped working. So so yeah, the website load speeds, the functionality, security, all of those kind of soft benefits come with that as well.
Fantastic. The because I think it was a few years ago now, but like the WordPress website's made up of something like 90% of website hacks.
Yeah.
And I met someone that spoke to a business owner recently who said that he was shocked that websites still get hacked. Like why would a website get hacked? Like, as if I'm a small business owner of, I don't know, say precision engineering company or like builder, construction, architect, solicitor, what are they coming for from a website like mine?
I read something around this, and actually when COVID happened, it increased a lot more because people were just sat bored, not doing anything. And a lot of hacks are sometimes people just get pleasure out of doing it and causing havoc to business owners and
Right.
people. So that is genuinely some reasons that people do it. And we've seen websites that have been hacked and they put wording across the site and say, your website's been hacked, ha ha ha, and that's it. And they just leave and there's nothing else to it. But obviously there's other websites that have been hacked to try and get details from people if it's stored there as well. Especially e-commerce. Obviously WordPress isn't e-commerce, but e-commerce, they try and get bank details and things like that.
Yeah.
And also ransom. So there's been a lot of, I mean, there's been some quite high profile. Can you remember some of them, Andy? Some, I think was Strava
There was that website hack, wasn't there?
Yeah, there's been
Yeah.
some really high profile hacks in the news, and those ones were more the hackers were trying to collect sensitive data and then hold the companies to ransom, so requesting large sums of money in order for them not to release this data. And either way, you're backed into a corner, because if they release the data, there's a data breach and there's big fines for that on the company. But if you pay the money that they're asking for, there's no guarantee they're going to release the data anyway. And some of these hacks they'll have a devastating effect on the businesses.
No, huge. Equifax was one I remember not too long.
And Equifax, I mean, that's a data breach. So there's just implications across the board for that. You know, if that data leaks, even worse. But the fact that there's a data breach in the first place is going to bring with it fines and all sorts of things on Equifax. So there were others. I mean, you could just Google a high profile WordPress hacks. And we've written articles about them. Our blog, we can share some links as well. There's you know, it's common, and it's actually more common than you think.
Mm.
And a lot of people think, oh, well, what are they going to do with little old me? And Charlotte, you can attest to this, where they hack into a server. They don't know what's on that server, but they're looking for something. So they hack into the server, and everybody that's on that server
It's affected.
is affected by it. So your website could just go down for
Yeah.
weeks. And what effect does that have on your business?
I think that's the thing, is that they're not necessarily personally targeting your your business or website. So the thing is that, or they've hacked me specifically, is that they're actually hacking the server, not your
and there's some
website.
servers that can have hundreds of WordPress websites sat on them.
Just getting a plug.
It's all right.
I mean, I've spoken to our head developer about this many times. There'll be WordPress websites out there that you think are totally secure, but they have hundreds of attempted hacks every day. So
Wow.
we see it ourselves. We've worked with businesses on some WordPress websites in the past, and you can see the attempts every day, just people trying to hack into them. So there'll be business owners out there that have their WordPress site, and there will be attempted hacks continuously. The
Just maybe not know
developers are
about
just,
it.
you won't know about it, and developers are just trying their best to get these people away.
Fight the fires.
Yeah.
No. Can HubSpot websites be hacked?
No, I don't think so. It's very, very, very difficult to hack into something of that nature. See, the thing is, the hacks are coming from all of the different plugins. So every plugin you have is an open door. It's open source code. You can get hold of the code. So the biggest thing is HubSpot's code is locked down. You don't know. You can't get hold of it. Yeah, whereas open source does what it says on the tin. It's open source. Everybody can get hold of it, and then hackers can start to engineer different ways of getting into the code and getting into things. But the plugins are the main area of concern. And with HubSpot websites, there are no plugins. Everything is functionality that is out the box.
To do
And as they add to the platform, they're adding it in that way. They're adding it in the platform itself, rather than, oh, here you go, here's a little add-on, add that onto your website. So
I've spoken to clients before that have said, well, I've got a two-factor authentication on my WordPress site, so it means it's more secure, but they're not actually hacking your website through the login area. They're hacking it through these plugins that Leanne's talking about.
Yeah. And every website that, like, when you get it out the box on WordPress, is going to have at least 20 plugins for it to just have the kind of menu
slider,
a slider. Like, every single thing is a plugin, and every plugin is a risk security wise.
No, definitely. What about the other platforms maybe that are out there that don't use plugins? So, like the other cloud-based platforms. I think you mentioned Wix, Charlotte. Like, why would a business owner choose, say, HubSpot over Wix? Squarespace, I think, is another one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, what's the benefit of HubSpot over those platforms, would you say?
Well, like we spoke about before, so the editability in HubSpot, the A/B testing, those extra features that you get, but also that Wix and Squarespace are purely website platforms,
Right.
whereas HubSpot, like you said earlier, Andy, the CMS is just one of the 5 hubs of it. So you also then get you can have your marketing, your sales, your operations, your whole business, and the key areas of your business all in one place. So you can manage your leads, your sales, your follow-up, your email marketing, your social media posting, and it can all be connected in one place in HubSpot. And by having your website as part of that, it's ultimately your biggest marketing asset, your website. So having your website as part of that in one place so it all works nicely together, that's the biggest benefit.
Right. The other thing I was just going to ask as well is that, because we build all our websites in WordPress. It's in HubSpot, I should say. It was WordPress. What are there any downsides to HubSpot CMS in your guys' view at all?
I mean, no.
No.
The silence kind of answered
Yeah.
it there, didn't
No,
it?
I'm trying. I am genuinely trying to
Trying to
think.
think,
Now,
yeah.
the HubSpot CMS Hub has been around for a long time.
Yeah.
Okay. When it first launched, it wasn't what it is today.
Mm.
And we didn't build in it. Okay,
No.
we carried on with WordPress, didn't we?
Yeah.
And that was because it just wasn't up to speed with where it needed to be. But they upped their game on that. And I mean, the investment that's gone in and the development that's happened over the past sort of 4 or 5 years has been incredible. And to be honest as well, when you compare it against Wix, Squarespace, and those, as well as the marketing stuff that Charlotte said, just the ease of use is
Right.
just it's just worlds apart.
Mm.
Worlds apart. And it's one of those things where we were talking earlier about having to rebuild websites every 2 to 3 years. You don't have to do that on
No.
HubSpot CMS because they're developing it. And I mean, the AI stuff that you can get now, just out the box, you're not even paying anything more for it, right?
Mm.
Right.
And they're developing AI into the content tools and everything else within the HubSpot portal, and you're just getting that. So you're getting updates, you're getting the newest technology that's coming, and because of the ease of use, if you want to redesign or refresh your website, that's all you need to do. You don't need to rebuild, you don't need to recode, you don't have that massive weight of a project and a big outlay every 2 to 3 years to think about. You just go in, right, Charlotte, and you
Yeah.
change colors and you add
Or
different things.
switch the
And
templates. Like we worked with a client recently that had a website in HubSpot and they really loved using HubSpot in there, but they just wanted a complete refresh of the website, the branding and everything like that. So you can build new like kind of layouts, and then you literally just go in a page and you click a button and it switches it. So all of your content then just switches
yeah.
into this new design and new
And
layout.
none of those other platforms we've mentioned can
Can
do
do
that.
that.
Do that. No, that is one thing I suppose that does get mentioned a bit with regards to HubSpot is that or one a perceived downside is that it's quite templated.
No.
Okay. Or like you choose themes, for example, okay, which is like the theme of a website, okay, but they're not very customizable. That's a view that a lot of people have.
Right.
The because we're using themes now to build HubSpot websites,
Yeah.
aren't we, Charlotte?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So what would your take on that be then? If someone, because people do say, HubSpot websites, they're not very customized. I prefer WordPress because it's more bespoke. I can create a more tailored website. Okay. What would your answer to that be?
Yeah, so I mean, in with HubSpot themes, they're very different to like a WordPress template. So
Right.
with WordPress or Shopify, you also get themes, or they're normally called templates. And when you do buy them, they are literally a template of a page, and all you can change is if there's an image, you can change the image that's in there and the text that's next to it. So it is a template, and all you can change is what content is shown in the certain places.
Mm-hmm.
A HubSpot theme isn't that at all. So it's not a template. It is a bunch of sections or modules that you get that you can then drag and drop to where you want them to be. Okay,
Right.
so it's not a structured page that you just change where things go. You can still totally customize the website and how it looks. Another thing people say is that, well, if I have a theme and someone else buys the same theme as me, aren't
Yeah.
our websites going to look the same? Well, yes, if you were to buy a WordPress one, because they are quite structured, you would be able to tell that they're the same one. But
Mm.
with HubSpot, no, because you can still totally customize through the drag and drop editor where things go, the colors, you can customize it to your branding, but the layout is just totally different depending on where you move things around.
Mm.
So yeah.
And So how do HubSpot have they got like a library of themes then?
Yeah, I mean, I'll share it if
Yeah,
that's
go for it.
that's useful. So can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they've got a marketplace now. Themes aren't developed by HubSpot or by us. They're developed by any developer over the world. So they're all built by different people or companies, and they can go onto this marketplace. So yeah, you can go through, you can have a look at them. You can see various different ones here, and
Right.
there's many to work from. I mean, they keep building on it. You can see there's 487 altogether, but more and more keep being added as more developers put them together.
And do HubSpot have to approve these, by the way, to go on the their app store? Can anyone just create one and put one on there?
No, I think they do have to be approved by HubSpot. Yeah.
Because obviously that's, I suppose, one of the challenges with WordPress is that anyone can create a plugin, can't they?
And put
Whereas
it on the place.
it's
Yeah.
the Wild West, effectively. Anyone can create a plugin, anyone can upload it onto their. It's not a man platform or anything like that. So,
Yeah.
um, do are themes? What happens if like a theme, I don't know, goes out of date or whatever? Will the website break?
No, so all the themes that we use have support and they do updates. So the websites that we've built on themes, we get notifications quite regularly to say there's an update on your theme, and all you do is click a button and it updates it for you. So they're almost doing the maintenance bit for you as well. So you just click and it updates. If they stop doing updates, no, it won't break.
Hmm.
Nothing will break because it's all still solid and it works. It just means there's no new features or add-ons that the theme is providing to you.
Right. Okay. And if a theme like no longer becomes supported by the maker, for example, of
Yeah.
it, like what would that mean that I would? Because I suppose that would mean I wouldn't have to get a new website. I could just choose a new theme, couldn't I?
Yeah, you could do. You could choose a new theme, you go in the pages and you just switch the theme that the page is based on. So
Right.
that is one option. But I mean, it's like with any HubSpot website you build. So we can build HubSpot websites from scratch, so not using a theme. And we can leave them for years and years without supporting them, and the business can update their website. And just because we're not supporting the website doesn't mean it's going to break or you can't do anything with it. So
Right.
they're still solid and they don't then become outdated like WordPress and vulnerable tags.
Fantastic. Brilliant. Okay. So, our theme are they free themes? Like, can anyone like do they charge? Or are they different amounts? Like, talk me through
Yeah.
the structure of that, because that is a question I get asked quite a lot when it comes to websites. Is HubSpot websites is how much do they cost as well?
Sure. So, I mean, there are some free themes,
Right.
and some of them are actually pretty good. But the more you pay, the more
Mhm.
modules you'll get. So, a module is like a section on a website. So, something like a slideshow, for example, that would be a
Right.
module,
Yeah.
or a FAQ accordion that opens and closes on a website. That would be a module. So, with the free themes, you often only get like 10 modules, something like
Right.
that.
Okay.
Whereas with paid ones, you get more. So we do tend to work with the paid ones just because there's a lot more modules already built in there.
Mhm.
I mean, the higher end, you're looking at about £1,000, but we use we've used some that are £1,000, some within like the 300, 500 range, and we find that they're brilliant.
Okay.
So yeah, they're really cost effective compared to having a website custom designed and custom built. You're by buying a theme, it's doing all the heavy lifting for you at a much cheaper price.
The and obviously we can help choose which themes people would have.
Yeah, a lot of
They
people
have to choose
ask
their
this.
own.
Yeah, I mean, some people do choose their own. However, with our knowledge and experience, we know what goes into a good website, and not every theme is a good theme, right? So there are some themes on the HubSpot marketplace we wouldn't necessarily use. They would still be a good functioning website, but are they good for SEO, for speed, for conversion? You know, we're a marketing agency, so we think of all those things. We don't just think, does it look pretty and does it look nice? When we're looking at themes for people, we take into consideration, does it look good? Is it nice? Is it built well for SEO? Is it fast? Because that's a really important thing for Google. Is it good for conversion? All these things we consider when picking themes for people, and we would only suggest a theme that encompasses all those things.
I think that's the one thing that a lot of people forget when it comes to their focus with a website is for it to look good, and not necessarily you can have the best website in the world, but if no one goes on it, there's not a lot of point in having one, really, is it? So the marketing is obviously a huge part from that. And I'm guessing then that's the benefit. That's why, say, a HubSpot user, say someone that uses HubSpot currently but doesn't have a HubSpot website, is that the big benefit then of having a website in HubSpot? You guys say?
What do you mean? Sorry.
So if I'm using HubSpot Marketing Hub or Sales, whatever, and I'm thinking of having my website built in HubSpot, okay, the fact that I can, make changes really quickly, it's faster, it's more secure, okay, Google likes it. Are these all benefits of why I would naturally just have everything and move everything to HubSpot? Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, a key benefit is everything's in one place, right? You're not going to HubSpot for your marketing and then your website somewhere else. That's one big benefit, is it's all in one place. But HubSpot builds their websites and it is geared up for SEO, for mobile responsiveness as well. That's a huge pain that people have, especially on WordPress sites, is that you can put a lovely page together and then you go and look at it on mobile and it looks terrible. And then to make it look good, you need a developer that knows how to then code it to work on mobile. Whereas HubSpot does it for you. You create a fantastic looking page, you check it on mobile, and HubSpot's nicely neatened it up and put it in order for a mobile responsive site. It's done for you.
Yeah. Do you, obviously we talked about Shopify there, didn't we, earlier, because that's an e-commerce SaaS platform. Do you see HubSpot going e-commerce? Any of you guys? Do you think they'll have an e-commerce solution?
Yeah. Leanne, I think you know a bit more about this one.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be the next phase, isn't it? Because you did ask a question earlier about are there any downsides, and I think that is the biggest one.
Yeah,
you've hit on it there, because you can't currently. I mean, you can lay products out and things, but it's the payments. But payments is launched in the US, so we know that it's coming. And I mean, it's a hard one to say, and because these questions. I mean, somebody could be watching this in 2 years' time, and HubSpot could be fully.
Well, this is it. We might have to do another one.
Yeah. But at the moment, it's not there, right? However, it's on the horizon, and we can see with the development of the payments being launched in the US, the next stage really is the full e-commerce side of it, and also Commerce Hub is coming.
Yeah.
So eventually, HubSpot has always been the all-in-one solution. So eventually, you're going to be able to run your invoicing and your payments and your shops and whatever, and have your marketing and everything, your service, marketing, sales, service, CRM, website, everything inside of HubSpot. Which
is a huge benefit. Although I met someone I met yesterday said that was the biggest disadvantage of HubSpot, is because you're tied to them, you're wedded to them, and if you want to leave HubSpot, then you can never do that. Which I kind of just made the point that, well, if you want to leave WordPress or whatever, you're still kind of, it's the same.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's the same with any CRM, isn't it? But people change CRMs all the time.
Yeah.
You know, we're moving people from Salesforce onto HubSpot because they've outgrown Salesforce, and you know, you that's what you do. You have things that are fit for purpose at the time, and as your company grows and evolves, you may need to move somewhere else. But HubSpot, the way it's designed, is because it's got the hubs, you can grow. It can grow with your business.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you've got the different levels that can scale up with you. You don't have to come in at the top level. So there's a good entry for small and medium-sized businesses to get using the tool. And it likewise, big enterprise companies are using it as well. So it's just one of those things. But that is a good point, because we do get asked, don't we, Charlotte, what if I want to move my website away? What if I go onto HubSpot and then I want to move my website somewhere else? And you can absolutely do that. You can export your website out of HubSpot and you can go and put it somewhere else. So you're not tied in. You're not in jail.
That's the misconception. Oh, if I have my website in HubSpot, then I can never leave HubSpot.
Yeah, it's not the case.
It's not really the case, is it, at
But
all?
if you have your website in HubSpot, you will never want to move your website.
No. I mean, this is the point, isn't it? You know, but
why would you want to leave HubSpot when you see all the benefits? Yeah.
Exactly. No. Well, I think that's been really useful, guys. Thanks for this morning. Do any of you have any other final thoughts before we wave goodbye to everybody?
No, I think we've covered quite a lot there, Andy. Thank you.
In a short space of time. So yeah, the obviously any further information that you guys, anyone watching this wants to have, there'll be you can set up a meeting in my diary. Okay, there'll be a link on our website which you can access. You can fill in forms on our website. There's loads of content as well. I know if you want to learn more about the actual kind of how the CMS Hub works. I know, Leanne, you did a webinar, didn't you, not too long ago with Will, where we talk about that. And I know Will's done a couple of videos as well when it comes to the CMS Hub in a bit more detail. So there's loads more resources on our website, guys. But I hope you found today useful, and we'll see you all soon. Cheers.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.